whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube. I think this is being stream live everywhere that you could possibly see a stream. And I got to tell you, I'm so glad you joined today, because we have a really important conversation with the one and only Ariel Faith. This is going to be all about where your message, brand, and sales find their natural harmony. So Ariel, I know you talk about the brand alignment pathway, and that means where your message, brand, and sales find balance, find their natural harmony. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So a lot of us know each of those words, but we never, is my mic on?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We know those words. We know marketing, we know branding, and we know sales. Can't see my fingers. I put up 3. So when you're marketing, you are talking about your business. So marketing is everything that's going out of your mouth to others. That's you telling the story, telling your what you do, why you do it, all those kind of things. Branding, on the other hand, is how others experience you. So that is your reputation, how they talk about you when you're not in the room. And there needs to be a consistency that they feel across your branding for them to have that sense of security. So that's that branding part. And then you have the sales, which should be a natural step. If they already know you, like you, and trust you, and they need what you have, and you solve a problem for them, then it would be natural for them to want to work with you. So that becomes a natural process. When we're heart-centered, business owners, we struggle really deeply with the sales part. We don't like to ask for money. We don't like to charge. We just really struggle with that, because we just feel like it feels transactional. And we're not transactional humans. We are givers and we are sharers. So in business, this gets to be a little bit hard. So when you are heart-centered and you're service-centered and you really want to be authentic, your marketing and your sales, all that can feel out of balance. It can feel like, you just can't get to that next point. But the more you align all 3 of those together, the more they become a part of you, or you become a part of them, is a better way to put it, then you authentically show up, and you are attracting the authentically responsive people. So you're getting your ideal clients without the salesy part. So your genuine personality becomes the attractiveness. So it's not an easy process, because you have 3 different components. You have your website. On your website, you have all the visuals. Then you have all of the words, the copy you use for the website. And then you have the overall, like the layout. So what does that do when somebody shows up at your home base, which is your website? Are your words saying the same thing as your images? Well, I'll give you an example. If you go to a website and there's this headshot of a woman and she's very powerful, she's very businesslike, she's got her suit on and she's in a very powerful stance. But then her messaging is all about how kind and loving and how she likes, you get a different feeling from both of those 2 images. Whereas if she was just kind of smiling and warm and maybe had a cup of coffee in her hand or something a little bit more warm, whatever that is for you, then it would have a connection to the words.
Right. Alignment, right? When your
Alignment.
messaging,
Yes.
visuals, and strategy work together.
Yes.
So then selling becomes natural. There's no scripts, there's no pressure, just genuine conversation that
Yep.
attract your ideal clients, which I love.
100%.
So talk a little bit about how you test to ensure that the messaging, the visuals, and the strategy work together to create a unified brand, so that your brand platform is consistent across platform, and that your brand platform is not just consistent across all the different platforms, but it's consistent in messaging, in visual, and in strategy.
It's really a matter of getting an assessment from the outside a lot of us get our heart set up in our business, and we choose colors we like. We hire someone to do the branding and they didn't quite get it, but we went with it anyway. So there's just this resonance that wasn't quite there. So when we, through the cohort, the brand alignment path cohort, we get together with multiple business owners. And then the first thing we do is assess. We honestly look at everything that we have. And we start with a website, the first fold, because that one usually tells you the most. What is the first impression that I get? What is the first impression they want you to get? My client, what do they want someone to have? And then the other people in the room, the other business owners, can weigh in saying, I get this, right? I feel this when I go to this site. So that group assessment is really important, because we get so attached to things. It's like you're standing in the forest and you can't see the trees. And you need that outsider perspective. So together, I have a strategic approach to how we look at it. And we look at it in a way that will open your eyes. The program actually teaches you to do this in the future, so that all of your messaging from this point on, you will understand why you want to choose this image over that image, because we will go through that step by step.
So brand consistency really happens naturally in that case because it's authentically you and it's based on your strategy. It's based on your brand personality. It's based on your brand platform. It's based on really what differentiates you as a business owner, business founder, business leader, and what you offer, because it is an outgrowth of who you are as a leader. It is a representation in the world of who you are as a leader and really your principles, your values that you stand for. So it sounds to me, Ariel, that you would start with that. You would start with really understanding who you are as a leader and what makes your business unique and differentiated, because you are creating that business. You are cultivating not only the culture, but the offerings and the pricing strategy and the ideal audience definition, all the things that really represent what it is that you want to offer and who you want to offer to, and the methodology that is uniquely yours. So brand consistency can happen naturally because it's authentically you. It's based on who you are as a leader and what makes your business, as I talk about, uncopyable, distinguishable, and irresistible, because it's an outpouring of who you are and what you want to impact in the world.
Yeah, and it really does. A lot of people come at different places. So I start in one that's pretty easy and everybody's pretty much there. But some people will need a lot more help with the branding part because they haven't done a lot of that inner work. They haven't really identified one ideal client, let alone maybe multiple. So their marketing might feel, they're feeling stuck. They're feeling like they just don't know what to do. They tried traditional methods and they're not working. So this way of looking at it from the three different aspects and pulling them all together, it is natural, it is fluid, and it works really, really well with women that are heart centered in their business. Those that are more money centered, they may not want to go through some of this work, but those that are heart centered, 100%, because they get to show up as them, and that's precious in the world of work, when you have to wear a suit and feel like you have to be something you're not. When you get to show up with your expertise, as your expertise, with your unique personality, that is when it all starts to work.
Yeah. And I will tell you, in Leadership Global, all of our conversations with women in positions of leadership and influence all over the world, whether you were hired into a CEO position or you're a business owner, business founder, or maybe even a business investor, it's really a strategic conversation that feels like a problem-solving session
Yes.
with people I genuinely care about, people that I want to see grow and scale their businesses, because it's not about selling them into the community of Leadership Leadership Global, it's about ensuring that they have something to offer the community and the community has something to offer them. It's about understanding their biggest obstacles, roadblocks, problems, issues that they're tackling right now, and how we can help them solve those problems, how we can help them literally take the steps necessary to grow and scale their business. So what is ordinarily sort of onboarding or sales conversation really becomes a problem solving session with people that I genuinely care about. I'm invested in their ability to grow and scale their business. And that's really what you're talking about, Ariel. It's about removing sales from the conversation entirely because, again, your brand consistency is there because it happens naturally, because it's based on authentically who you are and the unique points of differentiation that your business offers. And it's leading into conversations that are problem solving sessions, right?
Yes, yes. And a lot of it is, I've done a lot of work with women behind the scenes where they haven't reached that confident point. That they don't really even know what their superpower is. And it's there. I can see it, but they're struggling with it. They're struggling believing it. So some have to go through a little bit more of the confidence building just because we have so much um we're in transitions in life and that causes different things. So I mean there is a really big piece of it, and I don't take any of that away. And I'm not 100% strategic. I'm also heart strategic. So if somebody in the group is stuck somewhere, I'm going to spend a little extra time with that person just because I know the process. I know the struggles. I've been interviewing women for several years and we all share them. The imposter syndrome, I mean, all those things, even when you've got all the accolades and you've got many letters on the end of your name, you still have that feeling. It's crazy to me how many women struggle with that. And that feeling becomes a friend when you know what to do with it. So that's part of getting aligned with if you don't see what you offer and what your true authentic gem is, because to me it is a gem. If you don't see it yourself, you're going to have a hard time articulating it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it feels to me that, a lot of what you're talking about is not just setting up the foundation to really understand what makes you distinguishable, uncopyable, irresistible to your target audience based on who you are as a leader and based on the unique points of differentiation in your business. But then it's about having, as you said, the confidence and the consistency to enter into a sales conversation that again feels like a problem solving session because you know the pain points that you solve for uniquely that your ideal client is facing. You
Yes.
know exactly the methodology and the approach and the products and the services that you offer that can help them resolve that issue, that problem that they're facing in their business. So honestly, business growth enhances your life rather than exhausting you, right? So
Exactly.
your ability to grow your business is invigorating, it's empowering, it's energizing, and you find yourself building client relationships that are created on genuine connection and mutual respect, which is what I think we have in Leadership Global, relationships between women that are genuine, that are authentic, that are built on real connection and mutual respect.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
And so, how do you begin that process, Ariel, of helping someone really understand what makes them distinguishable, uncopyable, and irresistible, and making sure that their messaging, their visuals, and their strategy work together?
So it's all a matter of conversations, as you said before. It's about asking the questions. It's about the leading the client to their own answers. Because a lot of times we have them, but we fight them. So it's a lot of times it's just getting them to look at it and think about it, and then showing them another side of that. If you look at an image, I'll use this as an example, and the image is kind of sterile, maybe it's a stock photography and it just has this sterileness to it. but you're a really warm, um, fun, energetic person to work with. We talk about that fact that that's sterile, and then we talk about the fact that what are the emotions you get. So the client then begins to see that there's a lot of psychology behind all these images. It's not just now they may know that intellectually, but when they see it in action and we talk through it, and then we say, well, what are we, you have to do the branding work, which is the who are you, what do you want? And I am a favor of the story branding work from Don Miller. It's a process of helping you identify your message for different services, different products, or whatever it is you're working with in a way that is a story. And it's beautiful because you're not the hero of this story. It's not about me. It's about who I help, which is about me because that is what I do is I help others. So that story is about me because I'm in it. I'm just not the main character. My client is the main character. And I have to teach clients that their client is the main character. So it's kind of um, we have to look at how we're working with people differently and how this, the typical I'm standing out because I am so good at this and I'm the best one because that's good, but that's not going to attract the clients that I want.
Yeah, that's right, Ariel. That's so smart. So, Gigi, Laura, Susan, do you have any questions at all for Ariel about how this works, the brand alignment path, and how you might get started, and where you've been struggling to ensure that there is alignment between the message, the branding, the sales, and the platform, right? To ensure that you really understand your branding platform, your brand personality, your brand architecture to ensure that the message, the visuals, the sales approach are all integrated and feel authentic. So, any questions at all? Gigi, Laura, Susan, anyone else? Gigi.
Hi, Gigi.
Hi, I made it to the call. So basically, I am a graphic designer by profession. So I do the second side of it, which I help people brand. More often I have seen them, I don't know, it's really difficult to convince them to do the branding work right with photography having a similar tone, because people think designing a logo on Canva is easy, but where is the thought process to it? Getting stock images is cheaper, but where is the thought process behind it? I just want to understand, Ariel, from you, how do you connect the two? Because we understand the importance of it, why is it is needed, because without saying a lot that connects your brand, it creates an identity. But a lot of people fail to understand because everybody is looking at costs, and how do we kind of come in and break and kind of lead them the right way, because I'm struggling with something like that.
Yeah, I think one of the hard things for us is we have to walk the walk. So, I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm not as thin as I used to be. So I had to get myself in front of a camera myself, right? I had to do the work myself. I had to get uncomfortable to show people that it's worth it. And once you have, if you've gone through a branding shoot, which is actually how I started in this business, is doing brand photography. I still do brand photography, but when you have had a branding session with a specialist who does just branding photography, not a wedding photographer that does really pretty pictures, somebody who's going to strategically take you down the photos and why you're getting those photos. What is the purpose? Where are they going to sit? Are they going to be on this web page? All those things. When you have a strategy behind your photo session, and then you have a lot of content from that one day, your life becomes easy. Just as Linda had said, it becomes natural, and it doesn't have to mean you fill your feed, so to speak, with yourself. You just show up every once in a while so that people continue to see you, and they continue to, I'm very energetic and fun, and that's part of I believe it's one of my superpowers because I get people to get comfortable pretty quick, and then we have fun, and they're not nervous, and then I get real photos, right? So for you, if you're not showing up authentically you, then it's going to be hard for you to get people to understand the reason. But you can show them, and I'm on the process of finding sites that are very badly aligned and ones that are good. And I really hate using examples, real ones, because it's somebody's work. but the point, so you go out and you start looking, you're going to see it everywhere. And you're almost going to be embarrassed for them because they don't even realize. I'll give you an example. This is a tagline that a company uses, and they've been using it for years. You need to move, call a pro. What's the business they're in? You're ready to move, call a pro.
Moving services.
That's what I would think. They're actually realtors.
Okay.
So it's cute and catchy, but it misses the point. I don't get realtor off that saying. I get movers. So my point is that's a good example of thinking it really works. In the industry, they understood it, but outside of the industry, we all think something totally different.
Yeah.
So when we can show people the disconnect, that is when they begin to see the disconnections.
Yeah, I love that. Laura, any thoughts, any questions? Oh, Laura, hold on. Let me take you off mute. There you go.
Welcome back, Linda. Nice to meet you, Ariel.
Nice to meet you, Laura.
Some really great points. I think, it is always about alignment. I think that's a really key message, Ariel, about making sure that our messaging, our imagery are all related, or, whatever identity elements that we're having are all in alignment with, so that we don't create sort of this notion of dissonance when people are looking and they're not really quite sure who we are, because that confusion is the end of a deal.
Yeah. You confuse, you lose.
Right. So I thought that was really great. Love your point about the customer is the protagonist in the story. I think that's a really great point, and one I need to make sure I have done a good job with myself, because it's easy to forget, when you're putting all your content together. But yeah, that's a really excellent point. Thank you for making that.
So two things I would offer is Ariel does an audit for everyone in Leadership Global. She offers a free 30-minute audit if you'd like to have Ariel look at your branding, your messaging, your imagery, your platforms. She can quickly say, this feels out of alignment to me. And so help me understand, what your strategy is behind this messaging platform, this visual feature, this graphic, this photography. And she can help point out some things that for someone just meeting your brand for the first time, they may say, how does this work? And I don't understand. And so if that is of interest to you, be sure to take advantage of Ariel's very generous offer to audit your brand and audit your platform. But Ariel, you also have the brand alignment path that is coming up. So tell us a little bit about what that is, the brand alignment pathway, and really what participants will learn if they decide that they want to be a part of this cohort.
So it is a cohort. So it's a small group of women. We meet pretty much every other week. It's over the course of 3 months. So we work together, and I really do mean work together, where we look, we analyze, we grow, we create different goals for different people depending on where they are. But when you are there looking at other people's work and other companies, where you see their connections and where you see their disconnections, that will help you see your own. So that process of working, it's a very small group. It's no more than 12. And we get together on Zoom for an hour and a half. And then I have office hours that in between, if somebody wants to come in and they have a question or they're struggling with something, I'm available for that every single week. So there's a lot of through that 90 days, 3 months, however you want to look at it, we are working together from point A to point Z. so that you can see the path all the way through, all the way through the story and the framework of the story, how you can recreate that, and it can become marketing can become easy once you have kind of this framework. And then when you're looking at it from the visuals, and now you're seeing how the two are very important. You know, a lot of times you'll go to a site and it's really strong, but it's because of the image and the words. It's not one or the other, it's the combination. So we look at it from the combination, which is where the strength is.
I love that. So, Ariel, we have a question of those people that are watching on streaming. So that's terrific. Pastor Deborah asked, is it about the messenger or is it about the message? So, what is most important when you're thinking about alignment between imagery, messaging platform, branding? Is it about the messenger or is it about the message?
I would say that's a really good question. Because I am client centric, I would say it's much more about the message than the messenger, but the messenger is the reason I'm client centric. So you can't, I mean, you know, it's like putting the cart before the horse, or, you know, so, but I believe the message is what attracts people, the message visually and the message with words. That's what's going to attract the right people. And I think that's the key. So if I'm attracting the right people, they're going to resonate with the messenger.
Yeah, I
Right?
love that. That's great. All right. So, Ariel, any last few words that you would give anyone watching, anyone that's participating or watching, about, again, how to get started, how to think about your brand differently to ensure that there is harmony between the imagery, the messaging, the platform? Where would you suggest someone get started? And then tell us once again how they can be a part of the cohort if that's important to them.
So I have on my website, I have some assessments. They're free tools. I believe there are 2 on there right now. I have a third one I'm working on that it's a 10 questions that get you to think about it yourself. That's available. You can also schedule a call right from my website. It's arieljoyfaith.com. That's where you can schedule a call. Just mention, Linda, and I'll make sure it's more than my normal 15 minutes. So so we get a real conversation, one that's, in depth. And then the cohort is on the banner on the first so if you want to learn more about what
So
that
again,
is.
your website is arieljoyfaith.com. That's where they can
Yes.
find the assessment. That's where they can find the resources. That's where they can find the cohort. So again, for all of you listening, it's Ariel, ARIEL, Ariel Joy Faith. How awesome is that name, by the way? I mean, holy cow, you can't forget that. Joy and faith in the same name. Are you kidding? I knew I had to be friends
It
with
is my
Ariel
name.
when I
I
met.
didn't
I
make
know,
that
and I
up.
was like, I have to be friends with you. You know this because look at your name, arieljoyfaith.com. So check that out. You can sign up for her cohort, her 3-month cohort, or you can download any of the resources. You can set up an appointment to reach out to Ariel to do a brand assessment, or you can take any of the assessments that are on her site that help you decide whether or not your brand is fully aligned with your sales. So your messaging, your visuals, your brand platform, your sales approach, your methodology, all of that has to be consistent. And Ariel can help you uncover anything in your branding platform that might need a second look and maybe reconsideration. So be sure to book time with her, download the resources, and sign up for the amazing cohort that's launching when, Ariel? When is that launching?
It's the 18th is launching. So, and just remember, it's about growth. It's not about there's no failure. There's only learning opportunities. So if you see your assessment has some room for growth, that's all it is, ooh, I can do better. And that's exciting.
That is exciting. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Laura. Hopefully that answered your question about how to learn about the free audit. I love that. And I would also really recommend that Ariel and Laura, you guys schedule time together because you're both Lead Hership Global members and you should know each other, but there may be some opportunities for real synergy here too. So again, Ariel, so appreciate your time. So appreciate your
problem.
willingness to talk about this important topic, sort of the natural alignment and harmony between all aspects of branding. So thank you so much. And everyone, we'll see you later on this week. We've got a Power Pack week full of amazing events. So check out our events page and sign up for anything that serves you.